The rumble of motorcycles echoed through the small-town diner as a tall black man stepped out of his truck, calm but confident. Conversations went quiet. Whispers spread quickly, he didn't belong there, at least that's what some thought. He carried himself with quiet power, but no one knew his past. Inside, a group of bikers eyed him with smirks, their voices low but sharp. He ignored them, just wanting coffee after a long drive. When the waitress nervously served him, he smiled kindly, unaware that his calm demeanor was about to be tested. The leader of the bikers slammed his drink down, stood up, and said something meant to provoke. The man didn't react, his eyes steady, his breathing controlled. Years of training had taught him discipline. But the tension in the air was thick, and the storm was just beginning. As the man paid for his coffee and turned to leave, one biker blocked his path. "Where you headed, soldier boy?" the man sneered. The stranger's gaze didn't waver. "Just passing through," he said calmly. But the group wasn't satisfied. They followed him outside, circling like wolves around their prey. The smallest insult turned into shoves. Still, the man kept his composure, his voice calm, almost too calm. His hands never rose, though every muscle in his body was ready. He'd faced worse than this: combat zones, rescue missions, storms at sea. He wasn't afraid of bullies. But as the leader grabbed his jacket and pushed him against his truck, something flickered in the man's eyes, control mixed with warning. The air went silent, as if even the wind paused to see what would happen next. The leader laughed and called him names meant to break his spirit, but the men only stared. "You don't want to do this," he said softly. That calm tone irritated them more. Another biker lunged forward, shoving him again. The stranger finally stepped back, setting his keys down slowly on the truck hood. The leader smirked, thinking he'd won. But those who looked closer would see the shift, the stance, the balance, the eyes scanning everything. He wasn't just any man, he was trained, precise, dangerous only when forced. The first punch came fast, but what happened next was faster. In seconds, the biker was on the ground, his wrist twisted harmlessly but firmly. Another came forward and was gently but efficiently disarmed. The crowd gasped. He didn't strike in anger, every move was defensive, controlled, almost graceful. The bikers began to realize they had underestimated the wrong man. The fight ended as quickly as it began. The men didn't even seem winded. The bikers groaned on the ground, embarrassed and shocked. He helped one of them up, dusting him off. "You okay?" he asked, his voice steady, almost kind. That single gesture silenced the crowd watching from the diner windows. The waitress stepped outside, eyes wide with respect. "Who are you?" she asked quietly. He smiled slightly, "Just someone who served." But as he turned to leave, one of the bikers caught sight of a small navy pin hanging from his keychain. Recognition hit him hard. "Wait, you're military?" The man didn't answer. He just nodded slightly, opened his truck door, and drove off, leaving behind silence and shame. That night, the leader of the bikers sat alone in the parking lot, replaying everything. He wasn't used to losing, but this felt different. It wasn't just defeat, it was exposure. He'd seen courage before, but not like that. His friends joined him quietly, bruised but thoughtful. One finally spoke, "We messed up, man. He didn't even fight to hurt us." The leader nodded slowly, guilt tightening his chest. The next morning, they went looking for the men, not for revenge, but to apologize. The town seemed to shift that day, word spreading of that they found him at a local gas station, fueling up his truck. When he saw the bikers approach, he stood calmly, ready for anything, but their faces told a different story. The leader stepped forward, his voice low and sincere. "We were wrong," he said. "You didn't deserve that." The men nodded, saying nothing for a long moment. Then he replied, "Sometimes people act out of fear, not hate. Learn from it." His words cut deeper than any fight could. One of the bikers asked if he really was a Navy SEAL. The men smiled softly. "Used to be," he said. "But these days, I just try to keep the peace." They shook hands, something no one thought they'd see just a day before. Stranger who fought with restraint, who taught respect without saying much at all. As he drove away, the town watched in quiet respect. The bikers, once proud and reckless, were changed men. The diner now had a story, about a man who showed power through patience and strength through compassion. The waitress pinned a small flag on the wall where he'd once sat, a silent reminder that true warriors don't fight for pride, they fight for peace. Somewhere on the open road, the Navy SEAL smiled faintly, the sun dipping low behind him. He knew he hadn't just defended himself that day, he'd changed hearts. And that, he thought, was the kind of victory that mattered most.